What would you give to make the shirt of your dreams? I went all the way around the world to learn just how difficult it is to make something perfect.
Didn't know how that worked. Crazy.
What do you think is the most important piece of clothing in your fall wardrobe? As much as I love the jackets, the flannels, the sweaters of fall, I think the most important piece is the underappreciated base layer that really holds all those looks together. I'm talking about the humble thermal shirt.
When we were in Alabama, I knew I would find great vintage thermals. When I pulled this one off the rack, it didn't jump out at me at first. It was only on closer inspection I realized it wasn't the standard waffle knit you see, those 90-degree angles. It had a knit of these beautiful, elongated diamonds. It begged the question, why aren't people making these anymore?
So about a year ago, when Andrew from Knickerbocker approached me about doing a collab, I had thermals on the brain, because this thing was awesome, but it wasn't perfect. And I really respect Andrew. I really respect his brand Knickerbocker, and I had a feeling if anybody could do this right, it was him.
You know, Knickerbocker started, it was myself and two others. We basically established a manufacturing company, and then I had separately started Knickerbocker, like the clothing brand.
We're not sure if he remembers this, but the first time I met Andrew was actually at a sample sale in 2017 at their then factory in Queens.
And he was the first person I saw doing this like aspirational lifestyle brand that was using silhouettes and designs that I'd only seen in kind of these retro ways, but updating it for the modern era. But with the changing times, they eventually had to move their production to Portugal. And I know what you're thinking, because this channel, we love Made in USA. But Andrew's an expert, and we talked to him a lot about how there are some things you just can't make in the US anymore. At least not to the quality that somebody like him and I would like to see.
You had sent me the thermal, I had sent it out, and they obviously inspected it, and they're going, okay, look, if you want to make this, we're gonna have to do it on like a flatbed knitting machine.
It's actually gonna be complicated.
Yeah, and flatbed knitting is more common in like true knitwear, but it takes a hell of a lot longer to produce it.
Unlike in the US, where garment production is falling by the wayside, let's say, in Portugal, there are very rich histories of people working generation after generation in the same factory or in the same place. I mean, factory work is not easy, but there is a degree of cleanliness and safety and just a quality of life in Portugal that is kind of unmatched in a lot of places. When I had an opportunity to go with him to Portugal to like monitor the progress of the collab shirt we were making together, I had to go. We love taking an expensive, unnecessary trip on this channel.
Obviously, if I wanted to understand Portuguese manufacturing, I was gonna have to understand Portuguese factories. Like how much capital has been invested in state-of-the-art equipment. It's clothing, it's footwear, it's everything. So Andrew and I opened some beers, sat down on the beach, and talked about why Portugal is such a unique place to make clothing.
Not only was our time running up at the space, but I also knew during that time learning a lot about just the supply chain in the States and kind of where I was trying to take the brand and the quality of product I was trying to make, and do it in a way that feels like intimate and very true to our roots, and also because that's really what I love about this business, is being very in the process and seeing something from start to finish. I mean, the Portuguese people have been really amazing to work with. Being such a small designer and not really having a lot of money to throw at these factories PO-wise or purchase order-wise, let's say. And, you know, all these guys who like really took so much time out for me and showed me around and, you know, break bread with them and their families and the lunches. And this business is so much work. You got to do it with people you want to do it with, or it's not even worth it.
The next day, Andrew very kindly took us out to lunch at a nice restaurant. On the drive back, I was like, am I car sick? I'm not usually car sick. That's interesting. The next day, something terrible happened.
Hey buddy, let's fucking go.
I woke up in the morning, I felt crazy, and I had a text from Andrew being like, go on without me. I was like, oh shit. So I called down the hall to Nick. Nick's fine. Turns out he's the only one that didn't eat the shrimp. We have a picture of the shrimp. Enjoy that picture. I was incredibly ill. Couldn't get out of bed except to, you know, It was really bad.
First day of shooting, which gives us 1 day of shooting. This is honestly, getting food poisoning on the show is probably the most Anthony Bourdain thing I've ever done.
At a certain point, I summoned the courage to get out of bed, and we went into the countryside, where almost all the factories are within like a 30-minute radius of each other. We had seen an enormous shirt-making factory that went from thread all the way to completed garment. We saw a full-stop shoemaking factory and even got to see the Goodyear welting machines, something that I have always wanted to see in person. We went to a wash house and got to see laser-treated denim and the huge ways that brands wash and dry their pieces before they're sold to you. And at the end of the day, I finally got to see my sample.
Is this your first time seeing it?
I picked it up in my hands. I felt the purity of the cotton and just how much nicer this one was, even than my vintage piece I treasured so much.
This is the one I found in Alabama. It's just exciting to get to see it. Really cool. And it's all gonna be made here, which is awesome.
But I was cooked. I could barely stand up straight. Because even though I had seen a huge swath of what Portuguese manufacturing is that day, I had not been able to see the step-by-step required to turn my idea into a sample. So we needed Andrew to tell us how that came to be.
This is flatbed knitting. So flatbed knitting is gonna be way more commonly used for like regular knitwear. Sweaters, not for like cut and sew, which is what we're doing. The way we're essentially using these machines just to produce the fabric. And then it comes out and we send it over to our factory to do the cut and sew and do all the finishing and then off to the laundry. These we're producing in PFD yarn, so it's prepared for dye yarn. And then we did it with just like a very slight tint of that like milky ecru color, so it's not like white. And launder it, wash it, go through that process, back to the factory, apply the labels, do the QC, do the finishing, and then bag it up and, send it out to our customers.
I'm remembering like one of the final moments of that day where I was really sick was being there and them showing me all these slightly different shades of white.
Yeah,
and me
they were telling me that. They were like, Albert was like, sure.
Imagine you had a fever all night and then you have to choose between 3 swatches on nearly identical material.
This is milk. This is a colaco.
I like this. I like milk. Thermal seems simple to some people, and then there's so many things that you could do with it. This is very vintage. This is obviously inspired by some vintage piece, and then this is a little bit different. This is where the thermal will be made. I've had other opportunities to make clothes, but this way it's fully transparent. This is where the people are. These are the folks that are thinking about it. Literally all of it's right here. I think we think of brands as being so separate, and then so many of them are being siphoned through this part of Portugal because this is where the good stuff can be made. It's really cool. And it's really cool that I have had this opportunity to work with Andrew. It's been really cool to become friends with Andrew, to get devastatingly sick with Andrew. All I wanted was something that felt really good and was made well. It's just really cool to be here. This is where it happens.
You probably think these shirts, these basics, are easy, but sometimes they're deceptively hard, and it's all about purity. Purity of fabric, purity of machinery, and purity of design. It took a long time to make the perfect thermal, but we did.
We did it.
We did it.
We made the thermal. If you're watching this video right now, you can buy them here or online, obviously.
Online.
We're personally gonna wear them all forever.
All winter.
All winter.
Maybe all summer too, So there we go.
Like and subscribe.